So this tech industry is something which is changing every day. They used to say 6 months a technology change, right? Now it's changing every day. It's not like you prepare for an exam and then you are done, right? You keep learning every day. More than what to do, it's about what not to do and how not to do it. Like as a mentor, I think I'm able to mainly contribute in a way in the wrong directions that they're going through.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Humans of Pesto. I am your host, Laisha, Head of Developer Relations at Pesto, and today we have a very special guest with us. He's a seasoned mentor and has been with Pesto for over 1.5 years, and he has been leading the efforts on upskilling our students through Pesto's program. Please welcome Prateek to the show. Welcome, Prateek. Glad that you had the time to make it, and yeah, excited to talk to you about your journey today.
Thank you, Laisha. Same here. More than excited to be part of this.
Perfect. To kick things off, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey and how did you find yourself on the path of mentorship?
I used to mentor with other institutes, right, as a coach, like during my college days also, right. So this is something, right, excites me a lot, right, because I feel mentor is someone, right, who is not just specified to a specific instance or a session.
So, wanted to understand that since you've joined Pesto, what has been the experience of working with your mentees and guiding them in their journey so far for you?
It's more of a project based learning, right. It's something that is closest to a real world development, right. It's not like they just teach you, right. You can learn from anywhere, right. Learning, if learning was the thing, people will not come to Pesto, right.
Absolutely.
It's about the guidance, right, the coaching that people get, right. As a mentor, right, I get to work on challenging stuff, right, because there is a project phase in Pesto, right. So
Right.
for example, when people have doubt, right, they're like, okay, I want to build some product. They can do one thing, right, they can go online, do a Google search, get the project, get the code. That's fine, right. It's more about how they build, right, from the, I call it end to end learning, right. It's from building, getting the idea, to building the figmas, mockups, then completely executing it. They are everyone here, right. They're not just developers. They are the UI UX engineers, they are the testers, they are the product managers. They only write the PRD, right. So that's
Right.
something is very exciting and interesting about Pesto. So my experience has been good so far. So almost been a couple of cohorts I'm with plus batch, right. And
Right.
I've seen different kinds of people come achieve things, right. Some have even built products that no one can think of, right. These are like SaaS products that
Right.
uh, they can be launched tomorrow, right. They can generate revenue, right. That is
Right.
the mindset that we bring to them.
What's your take on mentorship? Like, why do you feel it's a crucial aspect in the life, and what difference does it make to even have a mentor in your journey?
So this tech industry is something which is changing every day, right. You people say, they used to say 6 months a technology change, right. Now it's changing every day. You don't know what is coming up. It's not like you prepare for an exam and then you are done, right. You keep learning every day, right. So you need a trail guide, right, someone to guide you through, right. More than what to do, it's about what not to do and how not to do it, right. That's something only a person who has experienced it, right. Like as a mentor, I think I'm able to mainly contribute in a way in the wrong directions that they're going through. But everyone is like, they have their own skills, right, they have their own mindset. It's about guiding them through what not to do, what to do, having that product mindset. Moreover, the attitude, right. Because nowadays people are giving up too early, right. As a developer, you get bugs, right. So when I see a bug, right, I tell them, don't come to me directly, right. As a mentor, I will not help you, I'll guide you, right. Tell me what all you did to reach to this, to solve this bug. For example, you had an issue, right. When you get that issue, what all did you do to solve this issue, right. Do your own homework, right. Most of the time what happens, in the path of like telling me what all they did, they have the solution there, right. That is what happens. We as Pesto, right, we also have mock interviews. Every company, they give interview, real interviews, you don't get good feedback. That's truth of the industry, right. You don't always get good feedback. But here we give them a detailed feedback, where they should improve, right. Some things that companies cannot give them, right. For the example, on their communication skills, right, how they are presenting a solution, For example, let us take JavaScript, right? They JavaScript, right? Again, knowing JavaScript is one thing, right? Explaining it in an interview is a different thing. Who will give them that feedback, right? Somebody has to do that, right? So that is something a mentor helps in, right? So more about, it's a guide, right? It's someone who can tell you the truth, who can show you the reality about you, right? So that is something I feel what a mentor is. I had seen people or developers, right, who were not even from a development background, right? Even though in Pesto, right, that's a good thing. We call everyone developers. I've seen them going from a person who is just using tools and systems, from a person who is writing like scalable applications, right? In short, I can say you can release the product tomorrow. I have seen people give up in between the program, then they bounce back from there, right? And they show a very good, they are like, they are winning the products, performing well in the interviews, right? So there are a couple of mentees I can highlight, right, who have even build products that are even at open source level, right? Open source contribution level, right? The kind of code they have written. And from when they had started, it was just like they know how to write basic code, right? Which anyone can do it.
Did you have a mentor during your own journey as a developer?
I had couple of mentors,
Mm-hmm.
right? These were not just like typical mentors, right? Whom we call like in Pesto, right? These were some of my teachers, right? Who taught me something, right? These were some YouTubers, right? From whom I learned, right?
Right.
Well, I am mainly a self-taught programmer, right? Mainly learned everything on my own, right? I am not from a college where I learned everything, right? I have learned everything, worked my way through into product-based company, right? Did multiple internship, did projects on my own, right? Struggled with DSA in the beginning, right? Learn, I could say, my mentors are mainly some resources that I got from. Right? So mentor is not always a person, right? It can be anything,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? It can even be an article that you are following. It can be a YouTuber or it can be a blogger that you are following, right? So there are multiple things that has motivated me, and mainly some teachers, right, whom I learned not just programming, right, different things on what to do. Some of my managers in my previous company. So yeah, everyone who guided me through, right, through my mistakes, who let go of my mistakes, right, who taught me, who corrected my mistakes, right. So all those are like the real mentors.
So, in your experience, what are some of those misconceptions that you've
Um,
personally encountered, and how do you think you would want to debunk them for developers out there?
because some people, right, they have this concept of they come to a mentor and ask for doubts, right. This is the problem I'm facing. What to do,
Right.
right? Instead, the question should be, this is the problem I am facing. This is what I did to come out of it, right? These are the challenges that I'm facing, right? There is a difference between a help and guidance, right? That is something that people should seek as a mentor, right? Second thing, right, mentor is one someone, right, who can tweak things based on the individual, right? You can give personalized mentorship.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not a one rule that fits all, right? For example, there might be someone who is good with, let us say, the front end development, right? He needs guidance on back end development, right? So in Pesto we have also final project phase, right, where we pair the mentees,
Right.
right? So all those things, since I as a mentor I'm interacting with them on a daily basis, right? I know whom to pair with whom, right? What are the skills that he is lacking or he she is lacking, and it can be fulfilled by with other person in his group, right? So
Right.
that is always there, right? That is something a mentor knows always, right? And coming to the preparation for their interviews, placements, right, giving personalized feedback, right, that is something a mentor can do, right? So in short, rather than guiding them through learn this learn that, it's about guiding them how to learn, right, how to be adaptable, right?
Exactly.
Adaptability is everything, right,
Right.
in this industry. Yeah, so that is something I would like to highlight. Yeah.
So, when it comes to working with different mentees, how do you kind of tailor your mentorship to, address individual needs that each developer has?
There was one quote I read, right, the best way to learn something is by teaching it. For example, it's a batch of, let us say, 4 people, 6 people, right? I ask one of them, in the next session you will be explaining this concept to everyone. Trust me, this has worked really well. And the second thing is, I pair them up in assignments, right? Time is always a concern, right? Because these people are these developers are always working, learning, right, taking curriculum, right? So that is always there, right? What I do is I pair them up, right? So they have that team sprint, team bonding. That is again, right? It's a soft skill, right? That is not something that you need to know in the industry, right? But if you go do the project individually, it will never happen, right? I ask them to take a mock interviews. It's not about a single mock interview that you need to give. What I need to say, let us say I have four people, one, two, three, four, right? I ask one take interview of three, three take interview of four, something like that, right? I just pair them up. So yeah, that is something I wanted to highlight. Yeah.
Right. I think peer-to-peer learning is a great thing. Less people opt for it, and rather it's difficult to find those kind of peers. And it's really great to know that you've been doing it with your mentees. Wanted to understand, when it comes to encouraging them to venture into side projects or contributing to, say, open source initiatives, how
Hmm.
do you foster that spirit of exploration? Because a lot of devs would be heavily inclined on mastering DSA, or that one skill could be the backend on front end. So, wanted to understand how do you take that up with your mentees?
That's a really great question, right? It's a very common thing that people ask and they face about, right? So before that, right, there's a concept of monkey mind, right? Where
Right.
you, especially right nowadays, right, people have so many options, they get confused, right? They want to do everything, but they're not able to do anything. So what I do is, right, for DSA problem solving, right, I tell them you are not just developing code, right? At end of the day, you are solving complex problem in the industries. What are product based companies doing, right? If it was a simple task or a repeated task, anyone can do it, right? It's about how complex or how challenging problems that you are solving. So that is something I tell them. Don't just mug up the code, or don't just uh, learn a specific concept. Try to look up patterns in DSA, right? Different kinds of problem. Take it as a challenge, right? That is something I give as a advice on problem solving. Coming back to the product, right? Projects they are developing. I tell them one simple thing: do the project in a way that you can market it tomorrow, right? You can sell the product tomorrow. Let us say a simplest project of all, right? It's a to-do list. To-do list everyone does, right? They think it's a simple project, it's simple basic operations, right? If it was so simple, why do we have only one Google Keep? We have Evernote, we have Notion, right? There are only three, four products that everyone uses, right? Build it in a way that it's ready to market tomorrow, right? Build it to a scale, build it to the standard, right? Handle all the edge cases, right? UI UX of the product. People are working in all large companies, startups, right? But they are not writing test cases, good test cases. So that is something I guide them through. So yeah, there are multiple aspects to get motivated, but the short thing is create an impact. See what kind of impact you are bringing to the society, right? With your product that you are building. So that is something I would like to highlight. Yeah.
So, now that we're towards the end of this conversation, I want to understand if you'd like to share like a specific instance from your mentoring experience where you felt you've made a significant impact on your mentee's journey. How they're a seasoned dev from when they started, when they initially joined Pesto versus now.
There was a mentee who was not from an engineering background altogether, right? He was a mechanical come operations kind of an engineer, right? And he was even facing issues with basic of coding. But there was one thing, right, I observed in him was leadership skills, right? His communication skills, that was his major power, right? So I tried to use that to his benefit. For example, there is an assignment, right? I used to tell him, okay, you learn this, you come up with a proposal, we all will build this together, right? He was having more of a product manager come, uh, you know as a lead to something, right, mindset. Later than that thing, once he became good with that, right, I encouraged him to catch up with the development stuff. And by the way, he was the winner of the pro that cohort phase, right? He was able to win the project, lead the project through. This is a journey of someone who is, right, not able to write basic code, with someone winning project in the complete cohort.
Now, to add some fun to our podcast, how about a quick rapid fire round? Are you up for it?
Yep.
Great. Here we go. What technology are you most excited about that hasn't fully realized itself yet?
Front end, complex front ends, micro front ends.
Would you rather have the ability to instantly master any programming language or speak and understand any human language?
Speak and understand a human language.
All right, time for some quick ones. Windows or Mac?
Mac.
iOS or Android?
Android.
Front end or back end development?
Front end.
Java or Python?
Python.
Debugging or refactoring?
refactoring,
Twitter or Threads?
Twitter,
Pair programming or solo coding?
pair programming,
Remote work or office environment?
remote work,
Hackathons or coding competitions?
hackathon.
Awesome. I think you nailed the rapid fire round, Prateek. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Prateek, it's been great talking to you and understanding your journey with the mentees, and I'm sure you've had a profound impact on the developers you've worked with. Thank you for joining us today and being part of the Pesto community.
Thank you, Laisha. Same here. It was wonderful talking and being part of this podcast.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this episode of Humans of Pesto. We'll be back soon with more exciting conversations. Until next time, keep exploring and innovating and never stop learning.